Lindsay Lohan, born in 1986, was one of the biggest child stars of the 20th century. From her Disney days in The Parent Trap to headlining her own movies, Lohan's career took a dive in the early 21st century. From plastic surgeries to arrests to drugs, the mainstream media couldn't hide its glee at the fall of this once beloved, little freckled, red haired girl. Without the protection of family money from a Nicole Richie or Paris Hilton, for example, Lohan was left to the wolves and continues to be hounded by her past by the same industry she boosted by the millions. Let's dive into the betrayal of Lindsay Lohan. Born in New York City and raised on Long Island, Lohan was signed to Ford Models at the age of 3. With her button nose, green eyes, and lovely red hair, she appeared as a regular on the soap opera Another World at the age of 10. Her breakthrough came in the 1998 Walt Disney Pictures film The Parent Trap, a remake of the original film. The film's success, a box office of over $92 million on a $15 million budget, led to appearances in subsequent Disney projects, the television films Life Size of 2000, Get a Clue of 2002, and the big screen productions Freaky Friday of 2003 and Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen of 2004. Lohan's early work won her childhood stardom, and the teen comedy sleeper hit Mean Girls of 2004 affirmed her status as a teen idol and established her as a leading Hollywood actress. Lohan signed with Casablanca Records and released 2 studio albums, the Platinum Certified Speak of 2004 and Gold Certified A Little More Personal Raw of 2005. Lohan's second album, A Little More Personal Raw, was released in December 2005. It peaked at number 20 on the Billboard 200 chart and was eventually certified gold. Lohan co-wrote most of the songs on the album, which received a mixed critical response. Slant magazine called it contrived. For all the so-called weighty subject matter, there's not much meat on these bones. Lohan herself directed the music video for the album's only single, Confessions of a Broken Heart, Daughter to Father, which features her sister Aliana Lohan, or Ali Lohan. The video is a dramatization of the pain Lohan felt at the hands of her father, whose frequent fights with her mother, Dina, continued into adulthood. Lohan also starred in the comedies Herbie Fully Loaded of 2005 and Just My Luck of 2006. To show her range, Lohan began choosing roles in independent films, starring in 5 films in 2006, such as A Prairie Home Companion and Bobby, both 2006, and Chapter 27, 2007. Her reported behavior during the filming of the 2006 dramedy Georgia Rule marked the start of a series of personal struggles that plagued her life and career for most of the next decade. Lohan's widely released film, the romantic comedy Just My Luck, co-starring Chris Pine, opened in May 2006 and, according to Variety, earned her over $7 million. The opening weekend box office takings of $5.7 million broke lead actress Lindsay Lohan's winning streak, according to Brandon Gray. The film received poor reviews and earned Lohan her first Golden Raspberry nomination for Worst Actress. Following Just My Luck, Lohan focused on smaller roles in more mature independent movies, as well as subsequent albums to her 2004 debut album Speak. The Emilio Estevez ensemble drama Bobby, about the hours leading up to the Robert F. Kennedy assassination, was released in November 2006. Lohan received favorable comments about her performance, particularly a scene alongside Sharon Stone. As part of the Bobby ensemble cast, which also co-starred Elijah Wood, Lohan was nominated for a Screen Actors Guild Award. So, for all the press on how 2006 was this dump of a year, Lohan's career was humming along at the time. 2006-2007's Georgia Rule has a really adult screenplay from supposed comedy writer-director Gary Marshall. In Georgia Rule, Lohan was expected to simulate oral sex, be abused by older men, and spiral into alcoholism and drugs. For the 20-year-old actress, this was a huge departure from her previous roles. Perhaps Lohan wanted it that way. We've seen her creative output in her music videos and songwriting, but it didn't seem so. She rebelled from the beginning, and the production of the film came to media attention when a warning letter from Morgan Creek Productions CEO James G. Robinson to Lohan was leaked online on The Smoking Gun. In it, he criticized her heavy partying and lateness on set, calling her discourteous, irresponsible, and unprofessional, comparing her to a spoiled child. Robinson's studio, Morgan Creek Productions, had a distribution relationship with 20th Century Fox in the late 1990s, which will be relevant a little bit later. Mean Girls made $130 million on an $18 million budget. Herbie Fully Loaded made $144 million on a $50 million budget and helped launch the Transformers car movie genre that would be so popular. For Robinson to speak to Lohan like this, with her star power, marked a serious move in how the actress was treated by the media and by others. 2004's Mean Girls was produced by 30 Rock's Lorne Michaels. Michaels, in 2017, admitted he refused to parody Harvey Weinstein on SNL and other shows he had control over because it's a, quote, New York thing. Did he mean a Zionist thing? A Jeffrey Epstein pal thing? Who knows? By the New York thing logic, Donald Trump's trial should be also off limits to SNL. It's not. Lorne Michaels' other tricks, including offering the Beatles a paltry $3,000 to reunite on SNL. Chapter 27 is a 2000 biographical drama film depicting the murder of John Lennon by Mark David Chapman. It was written and directed by Jarrett Schaefer, based on the 1992 book Let Me Take You Down by Jack Jones, produced by Robert Salerno, and stars Jared Leto as Chapman, as well as Lindsay Lohan. It took a while to find a distributor for this film. According to Leto, he did not get clean from drugs until 2016 after the death of a few of his friends, and was a drug dealer. Back in 2016, he told Rolling Stone that he did lots of them, drugs. A lot of them were really fun. There are just those few that tend to kick you in the ass, he explained. I guess at some point, too, there's a decision. Is this going to be my life? I made a choice to pursue other dreams. During art school, he was studying to be a painter as well as a professional drug user, and not a bad drug dealer either, he joked. But it isn't funny. Addiction is a whole other part of it. Taking drugs is one thing, but does it start taking you? Leto questioned. My experience was certainly one that I took it for a ride, and then it took me for a ride for sure. His decision to change his way came after he had a, quote, epiphany. In reporting by Grunge, Leto also started a cult, Mars Island, where devotees, many of them young women, dress in white robes. At a Mediterranean getaway at an exotic locale called Mars Island, just off the coast of Croatia, as Total Croatian News reports, there is the site of a cult. In what could be the groundwork for a pseudo-religion, Leto, wearing the red Kabbalah bracelet, and his band sold 3-day weekend passes with VIP packages costing up to $6,499. Attendees of Mars Island would get matching tattoos with opportunities to learn yoga. The biggest draw of all was a performance from Leto's band dubbed Church of Mars. This wasn't the first time Leto used cult-like vernacular and imagery to describe his following, both as an actor and as a musician, which could have influenced Lohan in the film about John Lennon's death. As far back as 2013, 30 Seconds to Mars said, yes, this is a cult, to describe the undying adoration of their fans, perhaps ironically. And since 2015, the band has held annual summer camps for the truly devoted, as reported by Distractify. It wasn't until 2019 when photos and videos were released of devotees engaged in what seemed to be literal idol worship of Jared Leto. According to a 2005 New York Post report, Leto and his band were known to invite underage girls to their concerts, and Leto is also said to send inappropriate texts to teenage fans. If this is true, Leto's dabbling in cult-like behavior is even more troubling. So this is who Lohan was on set with on 2007's Chapter 11, after the attitude of Lorne Michaels, and then Tina Fey, who would use Lindsay Lohan's body as a joke in 2024 on the set of Mean Girls. Add to this her co-star Jamie Lee Curtis in 2003's Freaky Friday, who proudly showcases photographs of children in suitcases. And it's clear Lohan was in very deep waters in 2006, 2007, and prior. One cannot emphasize enough how much money Lohan represented to the studios. Any movie she was in was bound to generate exponentially more than its budget, until 2006's Georgia Rule with its frankly horrible plot. Lohan losing at the box office seems to have been taken personally by some horrible individuals. Oil heir Brandon Davis, whose grandfather Marvin Davis was a billionaire oil tycoon, blasted Lohan for her personal appearance by screaming "fire crotch" into a camera, and that Lindsay Lohan shits freckles in May 2006 while he was in the company of Lohan competitor Paris Hilton. But Davis's grandfather also once owned 20th Century Fox, the same studio that worked closely with Georgia Rule's Morgan Creek. Remember how mad Morgan Creek management was with Lohan for dealing with their terrible script, leaking a letter to the media, and so forth? Well, Brandon Davis took it further, capitalizing on Lohan's momentary dip in her career and encouraging the tabloids to call the young woman Firecrotch. What proceeded was a veritable firestorm, with the gossip blog Celeb Bitchy calling Lohan Cracky Lohan. Good Morning America brought on Lohan's half-sister for an interview without even telling Lohan first about it. Was Davis, having to share the Davis fortune with his 3 siblings, mad about an absence of royalties from the young starlet? Tina Fey used the exact same insult in her supposedly feminist, allegedly uplifting 2024 Mean Girls movie, which looked terrible. Did anyone even see that movie? But Lohan, seemingly taking the high road, attempted to maintain her friendship with Hilton during this debacle. Lohan and Hilton were battling some intense demons in the early 2000s. Both women partied heavily, were known for their problematic drug habits, and were frequently seen drinking and driving together via The Guardian. It seems as though these two were magically friends one day thanks to the sudden flurry of paparazzi attention surrounding their newly discovered bond. The first recorded date of the friendship timeline is often penned as May 17, 2006, the night of the infamous Hilton-Davis conversation where Davis said terrible things about Lohan's body. So it's hard to imagine a time when they actually got along. The tabloids' love of dragging young women provides one of the organic sources of the hashtag #MeToo movement, which quickly collapsed. Frankly, women were not okay with reading about other women reduced to such horrible nicknames, especially women like Lindsay Lohan, who had only made the entertainment industry hundreds of millions, if not billions, of dollars. Perhaps the most confusing aspect of the Hilton-Lohan feud is how frequently they would return to their friendly antics as if nothing had happened. One night they were fighting at a hip Hollywood club, and the next night they were photographed in a car together with fellow celebrity Britney Spears. Hilton referred to herself and the group as the Holy Trinity after the paparazzi snaps were released, a moniker that stuck around as long as her party girl reputation. This could have been a jab at Lohan's religious beliefs, as she was raised Christian while Nikki Hilton, Paris's sister, married into the very wealthy Jewish Rothschild family. Through all of this, Lohan and Hilton would cycle through various stages of fighting and reconciliation, bringing a whole new meaning to the term frenemy. Throughout the 2000s, Lindsay Lohan and Paris Hilton fed information to paparazzi about one another and then denied what was said when pressed about it during their next public appearance. Lohan insisted that she never said certain things and she loved Paris. Paris is her friend. This is how the feud reinforced itself over time. Neither woman directly addressed what caused an initial rift in the first place, nor doing anything substantial to stop it, loving the media attention, presumably. However, it must be noted that Lohan was the much bigger star compared to Hilton, but Hilton, with her family money and Rothschild connections, had much more media support than Lohan, who is from a lower middle-class family. In 2004, when Lohan was 17, she became the youngest host of the MTV Movie Awards. In contrast, in 2004, Hilton was having one of her first nose jobs. So, have the two finally made up and put the past behind them? Not exactly. When Lohan made an appearance on the Australian radio show The Kyle and Jackie O Show in 2019, she was asked about the negative remarks Hilton had said about her. Her response was, "I mean, if it's going to be good press for someone else," she explained, "even in a negative way, then I'll pray for them." Hilton, for her part, seems to have made her peace with the famous feud, even if she hasn't resolved the matter with Lohan directly. "When I think about it now, we were just so young and mature," she explained per People. "It was like high school drama, especially in the LA scene, and to live it out in public with the media constantly trying to stir things up and make things worse than they were." In 2007, Lohan was cast in the film Poor Things, which she ultimately lost, raising question about control over masters that Taylor Swift would dominate in her wrestle for control of her recordings from Zionist Scooter Braun. But Hollywood recognized Lohan's ability to sniff out a good project. Poor Things was recreated with another redhead, Emma Stone, in its starring role in 2023. Poor Things was named one of the top 10 films of 2023 by the National Board of Review and the American Film Institute, and received various accolades, including 4 wins at the 96th Academy Awards, 2 at the 81st Golden Globe Awards, and 5 at the 77th British Academy Film Awards, with Stone winning Best Actress at each of these ceremonies. The film looked terrible. It seemed to totally miss the mark on Victorian sensibilities, but who knows. Tangentially, redheads are the group seemingly most likely for ethnic replacement in Hollywood, as can be seen most recently with Disney's Little Mermaid remake, so it's interesting that Emma Stone, another redhead, was chosen for the role. In January 2007, production on the film I Know Who Killed Me was put on hold when Lohan underwent appendix surgery. I Know Who Killed Me is about a young woman who is abducted and tortured by a sadistic serial killer. After surviving the abduction, she insists her identity is that of another woman. So again, we see Lohan dealing with really intense screenplays, a total departure from her family-friendly material, which she really excelled at just a few years prior. While Lohan was in rehab, she continued shooting the film, returning to the facility at night, which is a very grueling schedule, very little sleep. Shortly thereafter, she withdrew from the film adaptation of Oscar Wilde's A Woman of No Importance, her publicist stating that Lohan needed to focus on getting better. She was replaced in The Edge of Love in April 2007, shortly before filming was to begin, with the director citing insurance reasons, and Lohan later explaining that she was going through a really bad time then. Lohan pivoted to fashion design, becoming an artistic advisor for Ungaro after Pakistani software engineer Asim Abdullah bought the fashion house in 2005 for $85 million. Lohan helped design their line for their 2008 show, which was held in the Carousel du Louvre, a purpose-built venue for under the Museum of the Louvre that was opened by the French government and is adjacent to a shopping mall and food court. Although it's conveniently located, it's hardly the place for a high-end fashion show, and Lohan received a lot of flack for choosing this location, even though it opened up a totally new segment of the fashion market. She was called a tart by the mainstream media, and those terms weren't used by incels or fringe publications. It was how Lohan was referred to by mainstream publications such as Slate. She was dragged for bringing an everyman attitude to French fashion. Slate snarkily remarked, "What did perpetual victim Lohan bring to the show? Pasties?" The fashion mods clamored for Gwyneth Paltrow, she of I'd rather smoke crack than eat McDonald's fame, or Madonna, she of trafficking Malawi children fame, rather than Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay's foray into fashion under the guidance of the Pakistani magnate Abdullah saw her venture into plastic surgery territory. Her lithe figure with her button nose was carved and expanded. Perhaps Lohan was chosen through Abdullah's Saudi connections, but it wasn't until 2018 that we see on-the-record statements about Lohan's friendship with Prince Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia, which was described as purely platonic. Prince Salman would, of course, give the order to kill whistleblower journalist Jamal Khashoggi with a full thumbs up from Trump's idiot son-in-law Jared Kushner in 2018. Back in 2007, Lohan started to show signs of trouble. She was involved in several car accidents, DUI arrests, and rehab stints. She also lost a lot of weight, which made her look gaunt and unhealthy. Her face began to change as she reportedly had more lip fillers, cheek implants, and a nose job. Her lips became plumper and poutier. Her cheeks became fuller and rounder, and her nose became thinner. Some experts also speculated that she had Botox injections at this time, and she was still just 21. Here's a list of some of her criminal activity in 2007, starting at the age of 21 with the legal drinking age. May 26, 2007, Lohan is collared on a charge of driving under the influence and possession of cocaine after losing control of her Mercedes in a car wreck in Beverly Hills. July 24, 2007, the actress is taken into custody in Santa Monica on suspicion of DUI, driving on a suspended license, and possession of cocaine after she gets into a verbal argument with a woman whom she chased in her SUV. August 23, 2007, Lohan pleads guilty to misdemeanor cocaine use and driving under the influence, and is sentenced to 1 day in jail and 10 days of community service and placed on 3 years probation. November 15, 2007, Lohan spends 84 minutes in the Linwood, California jail but is released due to overcrowding, indicating the need for us to build more jails. March 13 through 16, 2009, a Beverly Hills judge issued a $50,000 warrant about Lohan's May 2007 DUI arrest, only to rescind it 3 days later after her attorney, Sean Hawley, shows that the starlet had been complying with the terms of her probation. October 16, 2009, the judge in her DUI case extends Lohan's probation by an additional 12 months so she can complete her court-ordered alcohol education program, which she had up until that point failed to do given her busy career. May 20, 2010, her probation is revoked and a bench warrant is issued for the thespian's arrest after Lohan skips a court date to attend the Cannes Film Festival and then claims she couldn't get back because, in the words of her attorney, her passport was stolen. The judge set her bail at $100,000, which she later paid. May 24, 2010, the party girl was fitted with an alcohol monitoring scram device on her ankle and ordered to refrain from drugs and booze and undergo weekly random drug testing as part of the conditions of her bail. June 8, 2010, a judge ruled Lindsay's in violation of her probation, hiked her bail to $200,000, and issued a new bench warrant for her arrest 2 days after Lindsay's scram ankle brace suspiciously lights up at MTV Movie Awards after party. The warrant was subsequently recalled after a bail bondsman covered Lindsay's bond. July 6, 2010, Lohan was sentenced to 90 days in jail for failing to attend her court-ordered weekly alcohol education classes. July 20, 2010, Lindsay surrendered and ultimately ended up serving 2 weeks due to prison overcrowding and the nonviolent nature of her crime. September 24, 2010, Lohan's probation revoked after she flunked a drug test when cocaine was found in her system. September 28, 2010, Lohan left jail and went to rehab. December 12, 2010, during her rehab stint, a staffer at the Betty Ford Center accused the starlet of attacking her after she asked Lohan to submit to a drug and alcohol test. The charges were later dropped. February 9, 2011, Lohan was taken back into custody after pleading not guilty to stealing a $2,500 necklace from a Venice jewelry store. April 2011, Lohan is given 120 days in county jail and 480 hours of community service after a judge finds she violated her probation of the 2007 DUI. At the same time, her necklace theft is knocked down to a misdemeanor. October 19, 2011, Lohan has her probation revoked after she failed to perform her community service obligations. After being briefly detained, she got out after posting $100,000 bail. March 14, 2012, Lohan is accused of allegedly sideswiping a person with her car outside a Hollywood hotspot and then fleeing the scene, likely avoiding paparazzi. Los Angeles prosecutors declined to prosecute, citing no direct evidence. March 29, 2012, Lohan completes the probation in her DUI case and is placed on informal probation for the necklace theft. September 2012, Lohan is arrested for allegedly clipping a man with her car outside New York City's posh Dream Hotel and then leaving the scene. Manhattan DA's office opts not to bring charges, citing insufficient evidence. October 10th, 2012, cops respond to a disturbance call at the Long Island, New York home where Lindsay is staying with her mother, Dina, after the two allegedly have a massive fight. No charges are filed. November 29th, 2012, Lindsay is popped outside Club Avenue in downtown Manhattan after she allegedly punched a woman in the face. If you are interested in the people that received less jail time and less sentencing than Lohan, including rapists and murderers, you can check out the Today's Terrible Judge series on this channel. But Lohan didn't give up. 6126 was a clothing line created by her in collaboration with Christy Taylor. The line was a leggings line before being expanded to a full clothing collection. The name of the collection represents the June 1st, 1926 birth date of Marilyn Monroe, whom Lohan had said she admires and has been influenced by. The line is now defunct. In January 2010, Kaler revealed the line earned sales of $3 million each year just for the leggings collection alone, which Lohan modeled herself since its inception in 2008, which isn't bad. In 2009, Lohan's plastic surgery reached a disastrous level, coinciding with her criminal record. She appeared at the Ungaro fashion show in Paris with a swollen and distorted face, which shocked her fans and critics. Her lips were overfilled and uneven, her cheeks were puffy and lumpy, and her eyes were droopy and hollow. She had a pale and blotchy complexion, which made her look older and unhealthy. She had also lost a lot of weight. Many people blamed her plastic surgery for ruining her rare natural beauty. In 2012, Lohan tried to make a comeback by starring as Elizabeth Taylor in the Lifetime movie Liz and Dick. Elizabeth Taylor also had trouble with her drinking and was no saint, not least with her treatment of Marilyn Monroe, which you can learn about on this channel. So there was a certain fit there. However, Liz and Dick was panned by critics and viewers who criticized Lohan's performance and appearance, where you can spot bruises on her legs and arms in the film. Her face still looked unnatural and aged, as she had more fillers, Botox, and possibly a facelift. Her lips were still too big and lopsided, her cheeks were inflated and saggy, and her skin was dull and uneven. She also had a different hair color and style, which did not suit her face shape and features. She moved away from her natural redhead coloring, diving into blonde and brunette looks. She got breast implants. Her appearance was locked into by pervert photographer Terry Richardson, who told his clients to call him Uncle Terry. He cornered her into the Chateau Marmont with a series of photographs in 2010, opening her legs, putting items between her cleavage. We see him following her, grabbing her. In 2012, he repeated his little trick, this time telling Lohan to put a gun in her mouth. He posed her by signs saying "Omen." Many thought Lohan would simply wind up dead, another Gentile victim to the crimes of Hollywood. In 2018, Richardson was blacklisted from the media by many credible complaints about sexual harassment. And this was the year Lohan surprised everyone with a new look and finally seemed on the upswing. She appeared on a talk show with a more natural and youthful face. She dissolved some of the fillers she had received. She had gained some weight. She was looking more like her normal self. She didn't have the tired look in her eyes that Richardson was so eager to photograph when he found her in 2010 and 2012. She also had a more flattering hair color, returning to red, which complemented her face and personality. She was a guest judge on U.S. TV style contest Project Runway's 6th season premiere episode, which aired in August 2009, again showing her love for fashion. She narrated and presented the British television documentary Lindsay Lohan's Indian Journey about human trafficking in India, pre-Jeffrey Epstein, pre-Rotherham scandal reveal, which is truly groundbreaking by Hollywood standards. You can learn more about Epstein's artwork and terrible judges related to the Rotherham scandal in the shorts section of this channel. Lindsay Lohan's Indian Journey was filmed during a week in India in December 2009 and transmitted to BBC Three in April 2010. The BBC was criticized for having hired Lohan surprising instead of focusing their own efforts on pedophiles like Uncle Jimmy and David Mundy in their midst. While reviewers called the documentary compelling, they also found Lohan's presence to be odd and distracting. No surprise, since the media had been on the hate path for her for years. Lohan said, "I hope my presence in India will bring awareness to the really important issues raised in making this film." In April 2010, Lohan was let go from the film The Other Side, where she had been set to star, with the director saying she was, quote, "not bankable." Not bankable, or just aware of sex trafficking in Hollywood and willing to star in projects about it. What Hollywood seems to forget is that we, a majority of viewers in America, like Lindsay Lohan. We prefer her to some Nepo baby. But even her audience couldn't save her from one of the busiest predators in Hollywood, Colombian-Venezuelan Vilmer Valderrama. By the time Lohan and Vilmer got together in 2004, she'd been around Hollywood for several years, but not linked to any high-profile men. Valderrama was Lohan's first high-profile boyfriend. He was also 24 years old to her 17, so they hid their relationship until she turned 18 per The Things. Valderrama would repeat this little trick with Demi Lovato years later. During their relationship, the celebrity couple frequented the hottest clubs and parties in Hollywood, while also keeping the details of their relationship private. Valderrama got Lohan, who was a big star at the time, a role on That 70s Show. However, after being hospitalized for exhaustion, another actor took her place. Lohan and Valderrama dated for about a year and reportedly broke up so Valderrama could pursue Ashley Simpson, who was 20 years old at the time. Lohan's song Over is apparently about her painful breakup with Valderrama. She wrote, "I watch the walls around me crumble, but it's not like I won't build them up again. So here's your last chance for redemption, so take it while it lasts, 'cause it will end." And she placed the tune second on the album's playlist. She wrote, "I won't be the one to chase you, but at the same time you're the heart that I call home. I'm always stuck with these emotions, and the more I try to feel, the less I'm whole." For Vilmer to create an emotional home for Lohan, who was underaged in 2004 and unused to adult relationships, and then take it away to pursue Ashley Simpson, created turmoil. In a really disgusting interview years later on the Zionists' Howard Stern show in 2006, he got rightful blowback from ex-Mandy Moore, who said Valderrama lied about taking her virginity on the show. Stern and his hosts asked their guests disgusting questions like whose virginity did you take and when, at what age, and prompt them into answering such questions, normalizing this degradation. Vilmer then engaged in a relationship with 12 years his junior Demi Lovato, who repeatedly overdosed on drugs in 2018 after their 2016 split. The American public likes that Lindsay Lohan can fight her way back up. In May 2021, Netflix announced Lohan would return to acting by starring in a Christmas romantic comedy in which she played a hotel heiress suffering from amnesia after a skiing accident. Falling for Christmas was released in November 2022, marking her first role in a major production in over a decade. Lohan performed original songs for the film's soundtrack and a cover of Jingle Bell Rock, which was released as a promotional single. Falling for Christmas was the most watched holiday movie released in 2022 in the United States. That year, Lohan's performance in the film received generally positive reviews, and in 2022 she also served as the narrator for Amazon Prime Video's reality dating show Love Struck High. In March 2022, Netflix continued their relationship with Lohan and revealed they signed a deal for her to star in 2 more films for the streaming service. In September 2022, it was announced she was set to star in the romantic comedy Irish Wish, which was released in 2024. The second film under this deal was Our Little Secret, which began production in January 2024. In May 2023, it was reported Lohan would reprise her role as Anna Coleman in a sequel to Freaky Friday, making this her 5th feature film with Walt Disney Pictures. In March 2024, it was reported Lohan was in talks to play a vixen superhero in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Lohan also expressed interest in portraying actress, singer, and dancer fellow redhead Anne Margaret in a biographical film about her life and career, while confirming that a script was pending.
On May 8th, it was announced Lohan had been given Anne Margaret's blessing to portray her, and that the film was officially in development, a victory for redheads. Lohan also married and had a baby. This is the resurgence of Lindsay Lohan.